Hi everyone, my name is Stacy Wixall. I'm the director of Macedon Public Library, and today I'm going to do a tutorial on how to create your resume using Google Docs. So to begin with, I'm going to share my screen with you. Let me do that right now. And I'm going to shut these down so I can show you how I get to Google Drive. So first of all, if you have a Gmail account, then you have access to a whole bunch of different Google tools. And you should, on your own computer, see a little box of 9 dots in the corner that you can click on and easily get to any of these Google tools. Now, if you don't see it, it means you're not signed in. So if you sign into your Gmail account, that should make the little box of 9 dots pop up. Once you click on the box of 9 dots and you get to all your different tools, you'll see right here, and I'm circling it with my mouse, the Google Drive icon, which is a yellow, blue, and green sort of triangular shaped ribbon. You're going to click on that. And you'll see this is my Google Drive account. I use it a lot for my job. I'm going to show you how to make a new folder. If you're new to Google Drive, all these what I call drawers, but they call them files, you won't probably have all these. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make one. Let me show you again. You click on New, and you click on Folder right here. Then you give your folder a name. I'm going to call it Resume Samples. And then you say Create. Now I have lots. Yours would probably end up right up at the top right here. But mine ended up right here because it will put all your files or your folders or your drawers, however you want to call them, they'll all be in alphabetical order, which is really handy as long as you can remember what you've called things. It makes it super easy to find them. And just as a note, if you do end up using Google Drive a lot and you get lots of these folders or drawers, you can search for things using the search bar at the top, which also makes it really easy to get back to your stuff. So now that I've created this folder or drawer, I'm going to click on it. And when it opens up, there's nothing here. So we're going to have to open up a Google document. Again, you come up to New, you click it, and you click on Google Docs. And a new, I call it a sheet of paper, shows up. You have a nice toolbar at the top, very, very similar to Microsoft Word. And you also have up here a little box where you can title your document. I would recommend you do that right away. In your case, you probably want to call it by your name and then maybe the date you created the resume. That way, when you go back, you can easily find the resume you made and you know exactly when you made it. And at the end of this presentation, I will show you how to make a copy of your work so that in the future, you won't have to ever start from scratch for the creation of your resume, because you can make a copy of what we're making today. And then you can simply go back in and change it up however you need to. It's also handy if you want to target your resume to particular job applications, and maybe for some things you want to include something, for other job applications maybe you don't, or you want to add certain things. You can make a copy of this original one and you can tweak it however you want. And then when you title it, you just go ahead and title it in a way that helps you to know, oh yeah, that's the resume I like to use when I apply for this kind of job. And oh yeah, this one over here is best for this kind of job. Or maybe you could put resume : and the title of the job you use that resume for. Lots of different ways to do it, but whatever makes it easiest for you to put your hands on whatever copy you're looking for is what I recommend. Now, for my purposes, this is just a sample resume And I'm gonna call it George Johnston, because if you watched my other class, I did a resume class and I talked about the different types of resumes. And there are 3 types: functional, chronological, and combination. And George Johnston's resume is a combination style resume, which means it's the best of all worlds. It combines functional and chronological. And that's the one I decided I would type in for you today so I could show you the different ways to do things using Google Drive. So let's go ahead and type in George's name. Oops, George Johnston. And his address is 3 Canal Drive, Macedon, New York, 14502. 585. Now, something to know, all this information that I'm putting in and this person's name, it's all completely bogus. Just made it up for the purposes of having something that looked, you know, like a good example, a realistic example. So George Johnston at email.com. So I've made a header. The header of your resume should always have your name and your address and your email. If you have a LinkedIn account, you may also want to include that. George didn't, so it's not on his. I recommend making your header look more attractive than this. One thing I like to do is go ahead and put something in that separates this information just a little bit, so that when the person doing the hiring decisions sees your information, it's just easier on that person's eyes. So a dot, I'm using this cute little tilde symbol, and I'm putting 1 before and after each bit of information, just because, as I said, I think it really makes the eye flow. Now notice when I hit enter, it makes this email a hyperlink. I don't personally like that on a resume. I like everything to match. So I'm gonna go ahead, I highlighted it. I'm gonna come up here and I'm gonna change it to black like the rest of the stuff. And the underline is highlighted. I'm gonna remove that. And then it looks just like everything else. I think it's nice if the header looks eye-catching. So I'm going to make George's name just a little more substantial. Right now we're in an 11-point font. I'm going to make it a 14-point font. I'm going to make it a nice color. I'm going to choose like a burgundy and make it bold. So I think that looks sharp. I am also going to make this information, I'm going to make this information just a little bit, just a skosh smaller, just so his name pops even more. And then I'm going to come down and make a line. So I'm pushing shift and I'm just making this line right underneath till it won't let me go anymore. And then I come back, I'm going to highlight it, I'm going to make it bold, and I'm going to make it match his name, which is, I use this burgundy-ish color. So there, nice header, nice and clean, very easy for the hiring person to be able to read the requisite information they need to be able to contact George if they like what they see. Now I enter, and I'm going to put in his education coordinator / supervisor information. So I just type it in, educator, whoops. No, education coordinator, excuse me, / supervisor. So this is the job title that he has decided best fits who he is. I'm going to make that bold, and I'm going to make that prominent. I'm going to make that a size 14 font, so it stands out. And then underneath, I'm going to put in italics, but in, let's see, we'll go with a size 12 font. See how that looks. And it's in bold. Effectively managing staff in both the blood bank. Whoops, I'm a terrible typist, so don't mind my typing skills. They're not great. I make a lot of mistakes. Okay, so I have that in, and I think an underline. So I highlight and I come up and I underline that. And then I'm going to come down one, and in a slightly smaller font, I think I'm going to go with a 10. I'm going to type what he has here. So, and I don't want it italicized. Results, oops, I don't want the bold at this point either. Results orientated, high energy, hands-on, professional with 10+ years experience and a successful record of accomplishments in the blood banking industry. My blood banking training and communication transmission industries. So this is his little elevator speech that he came up with. If you watch my other video, I talk about that a little bit. I'm going to add, so let me take that out of there. When you see, it won't do it again, a blue squiggle under something like I just had, and you click on it, it will recommend something. And if you think that looks better and you click on it, it'll save you having to type it out again. It'll just include it if you click on it. If you don't want it, don't click on it and leave it alone. Google is not always right about their recommendations, but I would say many times their recommendations are good ones. So I would at least consider what they're telling you. So that section's looking very crisp, very clear, very easy to read. Now he has a key skills list, which is a great way to really highlight things that you have done. I'm going to put in, whoops, wait a minute, I got to move my little video out of my way here. Nope. Where did it go? Where's the thing? Okay, so if I click on the 3 dots right here, I can do a numbered list or I can do a bulleted list. And for key skills, I would like a bulleted list. Oops, I had my cursor up here somehow. So that's okay, I'm gonna undo that. I can click on this arrow to undo and that will go away. Now I'm gonna put my cursor where I want the bullet. And I know I want my bulleted list a little bit smaller. I'm gonna make it a 9 and I'm gonna choose bulleted and there's my bullet. So experience in quality assurance, whoops. And customer service in 2 industries. And then I have to click on the bullet again to get my bullet. Whoops, it's not where I want it. I'm going to go back and click it again. There. I want my bullets to line up nicely. Excellent. Communication skills. Now, I'm going to tab over. I'm going to put a bullet if it will let me, and it won't. So I'm going to undo that. I guess I will go down here. Team building and leadership. Internal and external communications. And experience in training and payroll. So there's his bulleted list of key skills. I think it would look better if the key skills was in bold. So I highlight, come up here, bold it, and I'm going to put a line under it. There, nice and clean, easy to read. The employer knows, you know, who he is right away and knows what some of the really most important skills he brings to the table are. Okay, so I'm going to enter. I don't want the bullet, so I delete it and enter again, and I'm going to backspace all the way. His next section is called professional experience. So I want that section to be the same size as this one. So I don't remember what I chose. No big deal. If I put my mouse or my cursor right here, I see I used size 14 and it was bold and underlined. I want to mimic that down here. So we're going to make this size 14, bold and underlined, and we're going to go ahead and type in professional experience. And we're going to start putting his experience in now. So the first section, we're going to make a bit smaller. We're going to go with a 12. And it's American Red Cross, Rochester, New York. And he has it italicized. And I don't like how big this space is. So if I put my mouse in here and I change this, I can bring it up. I changed it from 14 to 10. It got a little smaller. I could go 8. I like white space, but I don't like it to be too much white space because you want, if possible, it's nice if things fit on one page. We'll see how that goes for us today. So I made it a little smaller. We'll see how that works out. So American Red Cross, he has his job title again under there. It's in bold caps. So I took off underline, took off italic, left bold. And if you're wondering, notice you can tell if you have bold or not. If you have it, there's like a blue shadow around it. If you don't, it's white. So bold. Education, he did it all in caps. So education manager / education coordinator. See, I got the blue squiggly because I forgot the A. I can just come back and do that and it puts it in. Education coordinator. Save me a couple seconds. And he's got, this is the chronological piece of his resume. He's got his dates in here. And he made that a little bit smaller than the job title. So I'm going to do that too. I'm going to make it a 10. Oops, got to take my caps off. So he made it like this, February 2013 to the present. And then under that, he tells a bit about what he's done. And that was also smaller, but not bolded. So I'm going to take the bold off. Bold off. Facilitated. Successful. Educational project over the past 5 years. State, New York blood centers with FDA regulated. Lost my spot. Manufacturing. As pertaining to CGMP, CFRs, New York State, and AABB regulations. Okay, that's his description for that job. And he has some notable accomplishments, which he italicized and tabbed over. Notable accomplishments. And he used bullets for the next. So we put our bullets in. And actually, I'm going to tab in a little more there. So notable accomplishments, provide daily operational review and quality. Of educational accountability. Move this little video, it's in my way. I need to be able to see what I'm typing. Regu. And he has the next one, which is responsible for ensuring uncompromised compliance. 23 organizational systems. Okay, so that's everything he has for the American Red Cross. I think under this, I'm going to take the italicizing off, and I'm going to make it just a bit smaller so it doesn't take up quite as much space. I'm going to bold this and underline it. So it highlights the notable stuff, but it's a little smaller, and then we can go to the next job title, which is Core Communications. And we want it to look like this one. So we want it to be, let me see what I did here. This is Arial 12. So we want this to be 12. And we want it bold. We want it underlined. And it's Core Communication Incorporated, Rochester, New York. Oops. Okay, and his job title was Cable Television Supervisor. So we don't want the bold or the underline for that. Cable, but we do want cap lock. Oh, and we do want bold, excuse me. Cable Television Supervisor. And we made the date smaller. We'll be consistent, always be consistent. So it should be a size 10, just like we did above. And his dates for that were May 2008. Oops. May 2008 to February 2013. And under that, we have the description, which is going to be in size 10. And there's no bold. The description is supervised contract support for 6 AT&T broadband systems located in the Rochester area. And he's got notable accomplishments again. So I'm going to tab over like I did for the other one. I'm going to make it bold, make it italicized. This time I'm just going to go ahead and type it in. I'm going to put my underline on because I forgot. So I highlighted, I click underline. It looks the same as up there. Is it the same size? We have 10. We have 10, so I thought it was the same size, but I wanted to check. I make my bullets, and I don't like it because it doesn't line up, so I'm going to do that again. And I'm going to tab it so it lines up. So I just literally click tab on my keyboard to make that go over. Now we want it to be a size 9. So we're going to go back here. We're going to make a size 9. We're going to take bold and italics and underline off. And we're going to type in his notable accomplishments, which are provided customer support and resolution. Training in telephony. Customer care. What else did he do? Handled quality control. Payroll. Special projects / plant extensions. Staff evaluations. And for his final section, he has his education and credentials. So it matches the header, matches the section header, I should say, matches these. So we want Arial 12 with the bold, underline, and italics. So we'll do that. Oh, I just noticed we have italics up on the first one and not here. I forgot to put that on. So there, I can add it. Now they're consistent. Okay, so I'm going to come down here. I'm going to write, I forgot the size now, 12. Okay, so we're going to make this 12. We're going to make it bold, italicized, and underlined. And, well, actually, it's not a job. It doesn't get an italicized. He only italicized his job, places of employment, so we won't italicize. Education and credentials. So he lists his college, and we're going to make that bold and italicized, but not underlined. St. John Fisher in Rochester, New York. And then we're going to make it just a bit smaller. We're going to make it like a 10. And we're not going to have bolding or anything. We're going to tell what he did there. He got a Bachelor of Science. He did well, so he's going to put his GPA. .8 and his major, administration, justice. He graduated cum laude. And he graduated May of 2008. Okay, and he has some certifications, so we're gonna put those down, and those are bold and italicized. So the certifications. And they are not bold and italicized individually. NCCT, phlebotomy, technician, certification, NCCT, certified, CATV, system technician, and then he's got some information technology skills, so we're going to put those on. Information technology skills. Microsoft, oops, we don't want it bold and underlined, we want it plain. Microsoft Office Suite. ADP, workforce, whoops. Workforce now. Proficient in various payroll software. There, and that's the last thing he has. So his resume did end up fitting very nicely on one sheet. Now, I like to go back through and just kind of spot check. Is everything looking consistent? I see one thing that I would change. I think this should be in caps for consistency's sake. So I'm going to come back and just erase back to the capital P and write professional experience in caps, because I think for the sake of consistency, that looks better. Same thing with this one, education coordinator supervisor. I think for consistency would be better if it was also in caps. And now that these areas are big, I feel like his name isn't so big. And we have a little bit of leeway at the bottom, so I'm going to come back up here. And we have it in a 14. I'm going to go ahead and see what it looks like as an 18. What do you think? I think that looks much better. You won't forget his name. It's got a little pop of color. It's clear and easy to read. It shares importance with all of his different accomplishments, work experience, etc. This is a clean resume, easy to read, and now you can make one something like this, highlighting the value you bring to the table. I've shown you the different areas in the toolbar you'll be working with. As you can see, color, don't add a lot, just a little pop. Just a little pop to make your resume stand out is all you need, not a lot. Underline, italicize, and bold, used a lot, just to help guide the eye through the different sections. And the bullets. Now remember, the bullets, they're tricky. You have to remember to come over here to the more with the 3 little dots, and you click the 3 little dots, and there are your bullets. Don't really recommend using the numbers as much. I would stick with the bullets. But there you have it. It wasn't too difficult. I will show you how to make a copy of it because I had promised you. So let's say a few months have gone by and a different job application comes up for George, and he knows that this resume, because of the job he was applying for today, was looking for certain aspects that he could offer. He made sure that this resume targeted what they wanted. But there's a new job, and some of the things he edited out would be better in his resume for this new job. So he wants to tweak this. So here's what he's going to do. We don't need to start from scratch. You saw that it takes a little time to get everything typed in, just how you want it and everything. So rather than starting from scratch, you're going to come up here to File and choose Make a Copy. And then you get to rename the copy. And I'm going to call the copy the date. Let's say, so if it's a few months ahead, let's say it's July 14, 2020, George Cranston, or George Johnston, rather. And then I'll call it that. That way, George, when he goes back, will know when this resume, have some idea what it's all about. And I'm just going to show you really quick. If I come back, if I close out of these and I come all the way back into my drive and I'm looking for my resumes, I called it resume, where did it go? Resume samples right here. I click on it. And then I have the July 14th copy. I didn't do anything different to it. We'll just pretend George did. And then this is George's original resume. I called it sample resume because, of course, I'm not George. George might have called it, actually, he might have done this. Maybe he originally called it today's date, which is May 15th. There. So if we go back, you can see he can keep track of the resume and his changes and have some idea. And like I said, he could even add the different place on May 15th, maybe he was applying to Rochester Regional General Hospital for something. And maybe on July 14th, he's decided to apply for a position that came available at the American Red Cross. He could note that in his title, and it makes it really easy to know what you're looking at when you look in your resume file. And it makes it super easy to grab the one that is closest to what you need, make a copy, tweak it to best fit what the person hiring is looking for, and off you go. So I hope that I did a good job of explaining how to use Google Docs to make your resume. And again, I wish everyone watching this the best of success. Bye.